Every time we would come back from work, we would line up in rows of fives. They would count us, dismiss us, and we go for our rations and into our barracks. One evening we came back and they count and they count and they count, and the commandant comes down with his Fräulein, his girlfriend. He says, I'm going to show these Schweinhund a lesson they'll never forget. What happened? 3 inmates escaped, and because of this, he orders his henchmen to pull out every 10th person in line to receive 25 lashes. And as they're pulling out every 10th person in line, I can see that my uncle who was in front of me is going to be at 10, so I push him behind me, and I took his place. I became a number 10. They took us in the middle of the yard, and they brought down hardwood stakes 1 inch by 2.5 feet, and they brought down a sawhorse. You know what a sawhorse is?
Yeah.
And this is what they ordered us to do. Stand in front of the sawhorse, tiptoe. Your heel cannot touch the ground. Bend over the sawhorse, but your stomach cannot touch the 2x4 on the sawhorse. So you're like midair. One man is holding your trousers, pulling it real tight. The other one starts to hit, and you have to count out loud. If you miscount, you start from 1 again. If your heel touches the ground, you start from 1 again. Your stomach touches the 2x4, you start from 1 again. It was almost impossible. I was number 4. The 3 in front of me fell apart. They miscounted, they touched the ground, touched again and again, and all 3 in front of me were shot. And they pushed them aside. And Ben Lesser is number 4. Don't ask me how that happened, how I survived. Because when I survived, I wondered myself how. The whole camp, you can hear a pin drop. Nobody believed that anyone could survive this. And Ben Lesser survived it. And the man who held my trousers says to me in Yiddish, go over and thank the commandant. So I stand up, blood is running down my legs, and I walk over to him, I salute him, and I say, Danke schön, Herr Kommandant. When he hears that, he puts his hand on my shirt collar, twists me around facing all the number 10s who are still to be beaten. He says, now I told you it could be done. If you do it like this, Junge, you have nothing to worry about. They were pulling in these 3 inmates who escaped. They caught them. And they were all bloody. They were pulling him and he couldn't recognize him. When the commandant saw that, just like a child gets sick of a toy and throws it away, he told all of us number 10 to go back to our original line, and he orders his henchmen to bring down a portable gallows, and we all had to watch while they were hanging, each one individually on its gallows. I'll never forget the last one was younger. They put the noose around him. He yelled out Shema Yisrael, which is a Hebrew prayer before you die. When they heard it, they kicked the stool out from under him. They wouldn't let him complete the last 2 words, Adonai Echad, God is one. They were such sadists. And then they dismissed us like nothing ever happened.
Ben, your thought that was going through your head when it was time for you to go up for that beating, what did you say to yourself?
I tiptoed and I bent over without touching the 2x4, and I said, Ben, this is it. if you want to live another 10 minutes, you got to do it exactly the way they tell you. No ifs or buts, no mistakes. And I did it. I can't believe how anyone could have survived this and without touching the 2x4 not once or without touching the heel on the ground. It was unbelievable that anyone could survive this, but I survived it. So this is when I realized that God is with me.
Do you also believe that it's not just God, but Ben's unbelievable resilient mindset?
I don't know what else it could be because afterwards there were another 5 or 6 times that no one believed that you can survive this, but Ben Lesser survived it.
And he survived to be here. He
Here.
survived to do exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
He was young enough at the time where he would be, he's one of the older survivors now that's able to speak.
Yeah.
Survivors that have been in the camps really do not speak today because they're much older than Ben. Most of the survivors that do speak today were children of the camp or children prisoners, and they were adopted or sent away or put in an orphanage. Their stories are different. They're still survivors.
Yeah. And there's so much to this story that we could sit here for hours. I do want to also mention the book, because if you're going to read anything and you want to consider and be a witness and become a witness, even if you're not hearing the story in depth or spending tons of time with Ben himself, and I'm so grateful to be in the space with you twice now, both of you. The book is Living a Life That Matters. And this is your story. We're going to share that in the notes of this podcast because we just can't do it justice in the time that we have here with all of the stories. And if there's more, what's really beautiful about this is that, Ben, you're still speaking. You still are very active with Zakor, Holocaust Remembrance Foundation. You're still up and at 'em and reading to children and talking to children and adults. And I want to really give this moment to those who are tuning in now that if you're looking for somebody to speak, to share, to learn from, and listen, I'm a professional speaker, so I share stages with a lot of people. It would be an honor to share a stage with you.
He's your man. On April 27th, it's Yom HaShoah.
Yes.
That is the remembrance of the Shoah. The Shoah is the Holocaust. This whole month, schools are learning about it, and also it kind of comes together with their history that they've been learning. Come after winter break, they start learning about the Holocaust, and so it's a perfect timing for Ben to come and speak during this time of the year before their end of their school year.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring the both of you on in this month, because I knew so much of what we learned and what's being learned right now is absolutely important. We don't want to miss history. We're never going to understand it fully. And, it's like a page in a book, but it deserves to be more. And what I'd like to do with the time that we do have, if you were to share a message, because we could talk for hours. At some point, Ben was liberated. At some point, you were able to make a life for yourself in the Americas. And is that also in the book?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. I mean, we want to know
That's a very
that
important part
I
of making a
imagine.
good life for yourself.
Of course, because that's a big part of what Holistically Speaking is about. It's turning those traumas into triumphs. It's seeing the message from the mess, the purpose from the pain. And being able to sit here and hear you share the story, but also know that our listeners and those who watch us on YouTube can really tune in and be in this incredible space with you, Ben, and also you, Gail, because honestly, it's family. It's family. And we have a responsibility, and I can't say it enough,